Hi friends and family, how's everybody doing tonight? Hi Ophelia, hi Royce, hi Kai. Tonight we're gonna read Curious George Learns the Alphabet by HA Rey. It's kind of a long one, look at all the pages. And there's 26 letters in the alphabet, so I'm gonna try to go fast. Here we go. Look, there's the man with the yellow hat, and there's George. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey, but he was always curious. This morning, George was looking at some of his friend's books. They were full of little black marks and dots and lines, and George was curious, what could one do with them? George was looking at the books, trying to read, but he doesn't know how to read. The man with the yellow hat came just in time. You don't tear a book apart to find out what's in it, he said. You read it, George. Books are full of stories. Stories are made of words, and words are made of letters. If you want to read a story, you first have to know the letters of the alphabet. Let me show you. The man took a big pad and began to draw. George was curious. This is an A, the man said. The A is the first letter of the alphabet. There's the A. It's a bunch of A words. Now we add 4 feet and a long tail, and the A becomes an alligator. With his mouth wide open, the word alligator starts with an A. This is a big A, and then there's also a small a. All letters come in big and in small. So there's a big A and there's a little a. This is a small a right here. It looks like a piece of an apple. George knew alligators and apples. You could eat apples. Alligators could eat you if you didn't watch out. I'm gonna get eaten by an alligator. This is a big bee. The big bee looks like a bird. If we put feet on it and a tail and a bill, the word bird begins with a B. Birds come in all colors. This bird is blue. George loved to watch birds. This is a small bee. It could be a bee. The bee is a busy buzzing around a blossom. The bee's body has a black and yellow stripes. George kept away from bees. They might sting, and that would be bad. It's our next letter. This is a big C. We will make it into a crab, and a big crab with a shell and feet and 2 claws. See the claws? This is a small crab, a small C. The small C is like the big C, only smaller. So it becomes a small crab. It is cute. Crabs live in the ocean. They can swim or run sideways and backwards. Crabs can be funny, but they can also pinch you with their claws. So there's the C. You now have 3 letters. George, the man said, A, B, and C. With these 3 letters, you can make a word. The first word you can read yourself. The word is cab. Cab. So these are the big letters and these are the little letters. You know what a cab is? I once took you for a ride in a cab, remember? Now let's draw the next letters. There they are. The big D could be a dinosaur. Look at that big dinosaur. There are no live dinosaurs today. They have died out. Those you see in museums are dummies. George had seen dinosaurs in a museum once. The small D looks like a dromedary. A dromedary is a camel with only one hump. Riding on a dromedary can make you dizzy because it goes up and down, and up and down. So there's the small D and the big D. The big E is an elephant. He's eating his evening meal, eggplants. George loved elephants. Look at that big elephant. The small E could be the ear of a man. Look at that, it's an ear. Or the ear of a monkey. People's ears and monkeys' ears look very much alike. There's the big E and the little E. All right, now we're on F. The big F is a fireman fighting a fire. Never fool the fire department or you go to jail, and that's no fun. The small F is a flower. George's friend was fond of flowers. George preferred food. The small F and a big F. So it makes a flower. There's also a frog. It has an F in it. The next letters. This is a big G. Big G, the small G. G is a goose. Goose starts with a G, like George. The small G is a goldfish. He is in a glass bowl and looks gay. That means he looks happy. So the big G and the small G. Now he's gonna put them together. Let's see. So let's see what words he made. Dad, Ed, bad, bag, cage, bed, feed. Now you know 7 letters, George, said the man. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. With these letters, we can already make quite a few words. There's Tucker. I have written some of them down. Read them while I get you your lunch. It seems the only word you can read is bad, said the man when he came back. I think we've had enough for one morning. I'll feed you now, and then you'll take your nap. And after your nap, we'll go on with our letters. Oh, look at George, he's getting into trouble again. Oh, here's a good one. The big H makes a house. Is a house. It stands on a hill behind a hedge. George's home used to be the jungle. Now he lives in a house. The small H is a horse. He is happy because he has heaps of hay. George had his own horse, a hobby horse. It's like a little horse that you ride. So big H, little h. Here's our next one, the big I. It's just a long line going straight down. It does not look like much. It could be an icicle. The small I is a line with a dot on top. It could be an iguana. An iguana is sort of a lizard. Iguanas don't like ice. They like the warm sunshine. So does George. See, there's George down there in the bottom. The big J is a jaguar. Look at that, big J. The small J is a jack-in-the-box. George had a jack-in-the-box as a toy. He just loved to make it jump. You wind it up and it goes pew. There's the jaguar. Jaguars live in the jungle. George knew jaguars. He had lived in the jungle once. We have the big K. Look at that, big K. The big K is a big kangaroo called Katie. The small K is a small kangaroo. He is Katie's kid. Big K, little K. Now we've got L. The big L is a lion. He is lucky. He is going to have the leg of lamb for lunch, and he loves it. L. The small L is a lean lady. She is strolling along a lake licking a lollipop. George liked lollipops. The big L, small L. Now what do we have? M. The big M. M is a mailman. His name is Mr. Miller. He brings a letter. Maybe it's for me, thinks George. The small M is a mouse. He's munching mints. And do you know what else it is? Said the man to George. M is the 13th letter of ABC. The whole alphabet has only, so there's the big M and the little m, 26 letters. So 13 is just half of it. You can make lots of words with these letters. Why don't you try? Here's a pad and pencil. George started to think of words and then he wrote them down. It was fun to make words out of letters. So George is starting to write. Let me see, said the man. Ball, milk, cake, ham, jam, egg, lime, feed, kid. That's very good. But what on earth is a dowel or a gajiggle or a balloon? There are no such words. Just any letters do not make words, George. Well, let's look at some new letters now. All right. Big N, little n. N is for napkin. Standing on the dinner plate, it looks neat. George had seen napkins folded that way in the restaurant when he was a dishwasher. A small N is a nose. In the face of a man, he has a new blue necktie on and is nibbling noodles. Our next one, O, the big O, is a big O ostrich. And the small O is a small ostrich. Of course, ostriches eat odd objects. One ostrich once had tried to eat a bugle that belonged to George. P. The big P is a big penguin, and the small p is a small penguin. These penguins live near the South Pole. They use their floppers as paddles. George knew penguins from the zoo. Q. The big Q is a quail. Quails have a short tail. You must keep quiet if you want to watch quails. They are quite shy. The small Q is a quarterback. A quarterback has to be quick. George was quick. He would qualify for a quarterback. And now, get your football, George, said the man. It will do you good to play a little before we go on your letters. It's a big Q, little Q. Look at this. We're gonna play football. George knew how to play the game. He knew how to carry the ball, and he knew how to take a three-point stance and how to get ready for the kickoff. He was a fine halfback too, and he could make a short pass and recover a fumble. Good game, said the man, but time's up. Now back to the alphabet. The big R is for rabbit. Sometimes rabbits are white with red eyes. Rabbits love radishes. George loved rabbits. He had one as a pet. The small R is a rooster. The rooster crows when the sun rises. Two roosters will start a rumpus. They really can get rough. Roosters do like to fight, and they're very noisy. What do we have here? Big S is a big snail, and the small s is a small snail. Snails are slow. They sneak into their shells when they are scared of something. George thought snails looked silly. T, the big T, is a table. The table is set for two. It is time for tea. George did not care for tea, but he liked toast. Tea. Table. The small T is a tomahawk. George had a toy tomahawk. It was a tiny one. He took it along when he played Indian. He also had a teepee and an Indian tent. Pictures. Let's see what it says. Now it's time for a snack, said the man. Run over to the baker, George, and hand him this note. Then come right back with the donuts. 1 dozen of them, and no tricks, please. George was curious. He looked at the note the man had written. 1 dozen donuts. Maybe he could write something on it too. How about writing 10 instead of 1? He just learned the T. First a T, then an E, then an N. Said the baker. 10 dozen donuts is quite a lot. But that's what the note says. We need an extra big bag for them. It's a lot of donuts. Oh my goodness. Why, George, cried the man. Then he saw the note. Well, that comes from teaching the alphabet to a little monkey, and I told you no tricks. You may not eat any donuts now, George. Put them back in the bag and let's go on with the letters. That's a lot of donuts. Here we are. The big U is an umbrella standing upright. U. George knew how to use an umbrella. The small U is a small umbrella. There's the U. When it's raining, umbrellas are useful, but you must keep under the umbrella unless you want to get wet. George thought rain was a nuisance. V, the big V. The big V is a valentine, and the small V is a small valentine. George loved valentines. He got several valentine cards every year. One card came from Nevada. W. The big W and the small W are for whiskers. Big ones and small ones. A walrus has whiskers. Some men have whiskers, like a mustache, and cats have whiskers. George did not have whiskers, but he was curious how he would look if he did. The next letter of the alphabet is X. The big X and the small x look alike and are only one is big and one is small, just like the big W and the small W and the V or the U or the S and some of the other small letters. But, said the man, there are a few words that start with an X, and they don't look like an X, except for one, and that is Xmas, Christmas. But really it doesn't start with an X. But some people abbreviate it with an X. Santa stands for Christmas, and there is only one Santa, so we only need one picture. George thought Christmas was exciting. The big Y, look at that, big Y is for the big yak, and the small y is a small yak. There's a small y. He is still young. Yaks live in Tibet, but if you haven't seen any yaks yet, you might find one at the zoo. Oh, there's the Z. The big Z is a big zebra, and the small z is a small zebra. The zebras are zipping along with zest. And do you know what? Said the man. Z is the last letter. Now you know all 26 letters of the alphabet, and now you may have the donuts. The end. George wrote it out in donuts. And then he's gonna read and eat donuts. Curious George Learns the Alphabet by HA Rey. Sweet dreams. Good night. Thanks for watching Grandma Alicia's Storytime. Remember to subscribe, and if you feel like it, you can comment your favorite book below, or tell us what you thought about the book we just read. Thank you.